So today's book is The Fourth Political Theory by Alexander Dugin. Um, this book has been banned in the US, and whenever a book is banned for any reason, it makes me want to read it even more, um, especially when it's so controversial. Um, Alexander Dugin is basically the kind of the strategist behind Vladimir Putin's um, Vladimir Putin. So that's kind of the main reason it was banned because of its support of kind of Russian expansion, its criticism of Western civilization, especially United States, not surprisingly. And therefore I decided to read it. However, and I will say, in addition to um, it being banned, many of the people that I've spoken with that are very knowledgeable about the situation in Russia because they came from the Soviet Union. I personally was born in the Soviet Union, so a lot of my family and my wife's family, a lot of them are very knowledgeable. They're like, "Why are you reading this? Why are you reading this?" And the main reason why I want to read it is I was like, I want to see why what was banned, what was so bad that needed to be banned, and I honestly wasn't expecting such a nonsensical garbage piece of garbage. It is. I was expecting something more, I don't know, maniacal, more logical, but like at least trying to sound um some kind of rational, something rational. Like you can rationalize really evil things, right? Even like Hitler rationalized why it needed to kill Jews, right? Because Jews were taking everybody's jobs. They're evil. They were controlling everything. And even to this day, there's a lot of conspiracy theories about that. Jews controlling everything. But at least there's some like rationalism to this. This is the most idiotic thing I've ever read in my life, and that's why I couldn't even finish it. I'm gonna go through some quotes from the book. I love going into quotes and like kind of really going into instead of speaking at this high level. I got up to page 65 and I can't read anymore. So the first piece of garbage, it says liberalism persistently fought against its political enemies, which had offered alternative systems, that is, conservatism, monarchism, traditionalism, fascism, socialism, and communism. And finally, by the end of the 20th century, had defeated them all. Have they defeated them all? Would you say there's liberalism or democracy everywhere? Is there democracy in Russia? Is there democracy in China? Is there democracy in pretty much the entire Middle East? Is there democracy in a lot of parts of Africa that are overrun with civil war? Is there democracy in North Korea? Uh, like he keeps on using this word liberalism, but it's really democracy. That's what the word is. There's communism, fascism, and democracy. That's the third option. And that's what the fourth political theory is. It's a fourth option other than those three. So this is the first thing that I was kind of like, what? I Democracy has not defeated everything in the world. Okay? Not even close. There are 1 billion people in China that are not in democracy. There are what? Like 300 million in Russia. Middle East is another billion, probably, maybe less. So many parts of Africa, unfortunately, are overrun with civil war and just anarchy still. So what are we talking about here? This next quote is my favorite idiotic quote. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And the more I read into it, the more I'm like, what? Like, this shouldn't be banned. This should be like under the comedy section. So the quote goes, the very ideology of progress is racist in its structure. So liberalism, essentially, what according to him, is a country that wants to progress, right? So the very ideology of progress, wanting to progress, is racist in the structure. The assertion that the present is better and more fulfilling than the past, and the assurance that the future will be even better than the present, represent discrimination of the past and the present, the humiliation of those who lived in the past, an insult to the honor and dignity of the previous generations, and a certain kind of violation of the rights of the dead. What the hell? It's the most idiotic thing ever. So basically, if you want to become better as a country, you're racist. So let's say a company wanted to become better. That's racist against their founders. Never mind what their races are. Never mind that pretty much most of the people dead uh in America are like a very wide range of races. So who are we racist to in America? Let's assume this is right. So we're racist to the rights of a diverse group of people in America. First of all. Second of all, this is the most loser mentality ever. Yeah, how about instead of trying to become better and better and better, we'll just say it's racist. What? Oh my God. Uh, like I came into this book very open-minded, almost maybe too open-minded, kind of almost like, oh, this book is banned. I need to like really approach it very delicately. And very early on, I was like, this is just malarkey. So this is a part. The next quote is, oh my God, um, almost as good. It's almost as good. Not as good, but almost as good. So undoubtedly racist is the idea of a unipolar globalization. It is based on the fact that Western, especially American, society equates its history and its values to universal law and artificially tries to construct a global society based on these local and historically specific values. First, democracy. Okay, sure, local and historically specific values, whatever. The market. So that's like a free market. Okay. Parliamentarianism. Okay. That's relatively local. Not all, even Americans have parliamentarianism. Capitalism. I mean, capitalism, if anything, has expanded. If anything, capitalism has enveloped the entire world, not liberalism. So I don't agree about that. Individualism. Okay. So that's kind of like interesting word to use, which I won't really disagree with. Yeah, individualism is relatively American kind of thing. It's all about like, yeah, you're on the road on your own, all that kind of stuff. The next one is the part where I just died laughing. Human rights. So apparently human rights aren't universal. These are local and historically specific values. Now, in a way, that's right. But are you really going to make the argument that human rights shouldn't expand? Are you kidding me? Like, that's, and it's racist. It's racist to want human rights. God, it's absolutely like insane. Like, okay, you can argue about capitalism. You could say, oh, capitalism has created a lot of disparity. You can argue about parliamentarianism that maybe it's not the perfect way to do democracy. You can maybe even argue about the market, the free market, but like, oh, it's not, again, it creates inequality. Democracy, whatever. But human rights, like, come on. You're gonna argue against human rights? Sorry, Bo. Um, next. So next one, the quote goes, difference between societies in any sense can, in no shape or form, imply the superiority of one over the other. The difference between societies in any sense can, in no shape or form, imply the superiority of one over the other. This is the central axiom of the fourth political theory. This is where the nonsense became more nonsensical. I thought the whole world was liberalism now. I thought it controls everything. Where is this superiority? I thought we're all liberalism, whatever that means. Um, so Next quote. This is the flip side of liberalism. At its core, it is totalitarianism, an intolerant of differences, and the implementation of a great will. It is only prepared to tolerate small people, protects not so much the rights of man. Oh, now we care about rights, but rather the rights of a small man. This small man can be allowed to do anything, but he, despite all his desire, will be able to do anything. Nothing. So this is where liberalism is being very confused with capitalism. Okay. So we can say capitalism and a lot of what happened with America is really, yeah, I agree. The rights of a small man, being a small man myself, joking. It's tough to be a small business. It's tough to be an individual like person fighting against the big system. Um, but it's not because of liberalism, it's because of capitalism. Liberalism is the idea that people have rights, right? And it's actually very tolerant to differences because it recognizes people's rights to religion, race, age, gender. So what the hell? Um, it's oh my god, it's just such nonsense. Um, okay, next one. So the ancient worldview is based on the belief that an increase in one area translates into a decrease in another. Therefore, the surplus had to be destroyed as soon as possible. For this purpose, the community organized an orgy, a feast, a sacrifice, consumed all the additional food, choking, or gave it to the gods, handed out, or destroyed it. So, this is talking about how in Western society there's a lot of excess, and this excess and the surplus is very bad for society. Uh, okay. Choking, sacrifices, orgies. This your argument for what we should be doing? Is that what Dugin wants America to do? Just take all of our excess and have orgies? Think we have enough orgies already, man? Um, okay. Okay, next quote. This does not mean that modern societies had grown from the state of primitivism and superseded it. It is just that we configured our society differently, no better or worse, built it upon other foundations, other values. Yeah, so we don't allow cannibalism, we don't allow rape, we don't allow murder, especially of babies. People used to murder babies. In Nigeria, there was like Nigerian tribes that used to murder, just kill babies that were born as twins because they thought it was evil. We don't allow that. We don't allow stealing. So yes, there is a superiority in terms of moral compass to this primitivism of what people used to do, especially tribal areas. So no, you can compare the moral. Uh, there is a moral comparison. Um, Next quote, which again is the whole racist thing. Any idea of progress is in itself a veiled or direct racism. Asserting that our culture, for instance, the white culture or American culture, is of higher value than your culture, than, for instance, the cultures of Africans, Muslims, Iraqis, or Afghanis. Um, how about the civil rights movement? You know, that's progress. Is that racist? Is it racist to want civil rights for people? Um, it's not the white culture. We, if anything, in America have a really now anti-white culture. You could say that. Not so much of a white culture. It's not so popular to be white in America. Uh, Anti-racist, all that kind of stuff, bro. Okay. Instead of modernization and growth, we need the direction of balance, adaptability, and harmony. I mean, what about improving with harmony? How about we have human rights that also is harmonious? How about we grow technologically, however, sustainably without killing the environment? Why don't we do what's good for business and for workers at the same time. It's possible. Then there's like all this criticism in the book about US and Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Uh, I'm pretty sure all of Russia was celebrating when the US dropped a bomb on Japan. I'm pretty sure they were happy about it. And then there's like a right after that, Afghanistan, aggression in Afghanistan. Um, Russia did some pretty terrible things in Afghanistan. Russia did some like it's just crazy. Um, it is quite possible. Next quote. It is quite possible that Russia could yet see feudalism, a slave-owning society, as well as communism or primordial society emerge from that. Those who laugh at this are the captives of the modern and its hypnosis. I am laughing at this because what you're saying is it's possible for Russia to go back to a slave-owning society. Ha ha ha. Okay. I'm laughing because it is possibly true because Russia out of most countries would could do that because it's so freaking backwards. Fourth political theory is not an invitation to traditional society. It is not conservatism. There are many characteristics of our chronological past which are pleasant and many which are not. Forms of traditional society are also different from each other. So fourth political shouldn't impose anything on anyone. Adherents of fourth political theory should act step by step. If we simply argue the reversibility of time, basically there is no theory. That's what I'm realizing from this stuff. There is no actual theory. It's an anti-democracy book. It's an anti-America book. It's an anti-human rights book, out of all things. And it claims that progress is racist. Just absolute nonsense. Uh, would I recommend this book to people? Yes, for comedic value. I hope you don't get angry because I could see how people get angry reading this. I was laughing a lot from this book because this is the book that's banned. This is what is influencing Russian politics. It's complete nonsense. And good luck to them.